Hey dudes and dudettes, Mr. Theorist here and welcome back to another theory video. This theory video is something I've hinted at for a while that I've been wanting to do and either haven't got around to doing it because of timing or jitters, because this is the theory that I'm hoping you guys really enjoy this one. It's a bit out there, but I really like it and I hope you guys do too. This is, I wouldn't say it's quite a combined universe theory. It's more a theory about how one movie series is actually a sequel to another. And as you can tell by the thumbnail and the title, I'm going to predict TRON 3. Well, let's predict it, more tell you that TRON 3 already exists. Yes, this is not a theory on, when will Disney make TRON 3? No, I'm telling you, TRON 3 already exists and a movie that spawned 2 sequels of its own. Before I tell you exactly which movie I am on about, let me explain to you how I precede the world of TRON. Okay? I precede in description that TRON is a computer-generated world that is controlled by a master program that has minions that all look the same. This program that dominates this world allows humans in, but is very hostile towards them. And the only way the humans can essentially win against this master program is for one of them to essentially sacrifice themselves to set a balance in this artificial world. Does that sound familiar at all to you? See, that is the world of TRON. But at the same time, that pretty much describes the world of the Matrix. That's right, I'm saying that the Matrix and TRON are the same world. And the Matrix is the sequel. It is the secret TRON 3 that we always wanted, but never get. But how? How does TRON and TRON Legacy become the Matrix, Matrix Reloaded, and Revolution? Revolution? Resolution? I can never quite say that word correctly. Revolution, I think it's called. Yeah. Revolutions. Yes. Okay guys, so throw your minds back to the end of TRON Legacy, in which Flynn's son and the ISO, which is, for those of you that haven't seen TRON Legacy, she is a program that was born inside the system itself. We'll come back to that later, but just for now, the ISO and the son of Flynn ride off on his motorcycle into the sunset because she somehow came into the real world. Again, we'll go back to that bit in a bit. But the whole arc of Flynn's son is that he's not on great terms with his father, but then by the end of the film, when his father sacrifices himself essentially for him, that he respects him and he misses his father. Now that kind of character arc usually leads to something if they were to do more films. Now, at the beginning of the film, he is essentially a shareholder of a company, a business, which his father owned. But the board doesn't like him, doesn't want him there. And if you think about it, his progression as a character means that if there was another film, he would essentially take on his father's business. And that's what he plans to do. He plans to go to take his father's business back. Unfortunately, the board doesn't agree with this. And kind of likes the little ISO girl that he's become friends with. Because she is quite literally AI, artificial intelligence, that they want. So, get rid of the boy, they take the ISO and they start experimenting on her. And they want to clone her, they want to make AI profitable. Fortunately, none of them are like Flynn, none of them have the mindset and the capability to find a way of how to recreate the ISOs. So they can only create cheap knockoffs that they put inside the machine bodies and essentially make a labour workforce. Now this essentially is leading us into the Matrix world, where if you watch the Zion Chronicles, which is an additional set that goes with the trilogy, we find out that yes, man made machines and essentially made them into a workforce, but they could think for themselves and they rose up and a war broke out. And we lost, not before blotting out the sun though. And even though the machines beat us, they need a new power source. They were solar powered and they have no way of keeping themselves going. So running low on fuel, they need to find some way of powering themselves. And they find out that under the right circumstances, the human body, with the right chemical reaction and the right electrical signals, we can essentially become a power source for them. We learn this in the Matrix. And they're like, yes, this will work, but how do we get them to be docile enough, but at the same time use their brains in order to create this reaction we need? And then they feel this tug, this pull. And deep inside the earth, they find this old facility from the human days. An arcade that has in it something they used to be part of. The grid. Because they are the descendants, the clones of the ISO girl. And they decide, this is perfect. This is essentially the perfect thing we need to keep humanity in check. They can go inside the system, and with us controlling it, a utopian world where they think they're at peace, but actually we're using them. We're controlling them for their power source. Now, this is backed up by Mr. Smith in the first Matrix movie, when he says the first version of the Matrix was Utopia. Now you look at the grid, it essentially is a leisure game. That's all it is. It's a society that also has a gaming grid. The only reason it's hostile and vicious is because the master controller hates humans and wants to be a dictator. Now under the machine's control that they want to keep us happy, it would be Utopia, which lines up with what Smith said. But unfortunately, he also said that we couldn't accept Utopia, that our minds are unwilling to accept the perfect world. So they have to do some jigging around. The grid no longer looks like the grid, it now looks like the 90s, and it's all about corporations, and you work for the system to better the system. Unfortunately, that still doesn't work though, because we need something to look up to, we need a saviour. How are they going to decide who's going to be this saviour for mankind? Someone that essentially can bend the will of the Matrix to his as he sees fit. And then they find it. Remnants inside the old version of the Matrix, inside the grid. Somebody who built the grid, but controlled it at the same time. Flynn, as we saw in Legacy, was able to do this. When he's in the nightclub, he sticks his hand to the floor and shuts down the entire thing. Now, you take that and you give someone an adaptable version of that, someone who quite literally bends the Matrix to his will, and you've got Flynn, who is essentially the original version of the One. They take what's left of his fragmentational remains and make Neo, or whatever the first one was called. And there we have it, guys. This is how the gaming grid of TRON became the Matrix. Now that's just the story base. There is evidence to more back this up. You take the ISO girl, for example. The way she works is she was born inside the system. She was nothing more than AI, but she thinked and feels like a real human would. Now we've seen this in the Matrix as well. And if we are to accept the gaming grid and the Matrix are the same place, then the ISOs, or what's left of them, because they were born into this system, they came from the grid itself. Wouldn't they still exist if the Matrix is just the grid just jigged around? Yes. The family that Neo meets in the beginning of Revolution. I can never say it. They themselves say that, yes, this is my daughter. I love her. I may be a program, but I love her. He essentially, and his wife and his daughter, are the byproducts of the ISO thing, whatever it was, that was helping them be born in the grid. It's now happening again in the Matrix. And as I said, the ISO girl, she was able to leave the grid at the end of Tron Legacy. Who else has left in the Matrix film that was a program, was able to leave into the real world? Smith. Yes, he's not quite an ISO, so he can't physically leave himself, but by entering a human body, he himself can leave. We assume it would be a similar way the ISO girl came into the real world. So they'd probably have to go through Flynn's son in order to come into the physical realm. Smith maybe didn't get a chance to form himself. May I say no more, guys? I am about 90% sure if they wanted to, And if Disney was going to do it, because Disney's buying everyone out these days, they could say that Tron and the Matrix are the same world. And my theory has given you a reason on how. Hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. If you have, please hit that like button, leave a comment, tell me what you think of this theory. I say this is something that's been in my head for months, even before my Let's Chat About on the Saw Saga. It's just been there, nagging away. I've just needed the right mindset and day to get down and give you this theory. If you haven't already, guys, please subscribe to this channel. Leave a comment below, tell me what you think. And if you've got friends who might like this theory, share it with them. Until next video, guys, I will catch you later. Bye!